Let's be honest, most people don't stay broke because they never earned enough. They stay broke because they never learned to control their emotions or own money. Every impulsive purchase, every emotional trade, every "I deserve this" moment chips away at your financial future. And yet, the people who build real wealth, the quiet, consistent ones, have mastered something most overlook: the ability to separate emotion from money. Because money is emotional by nature, it's tied to comfort, confidence, even identity. But if you want to move from emotional spending to strategic investing, you must learn how to depersonalize your financial decisions, to act based on reason, not reaction. The emotional trap of spending. Let's start here. Emotional spending isn't always about luxury. Sometimes it's about relief, for the small dopamine hit after a stressful week, the upgrade that feels deserved, the impulse that convinces you it's okay because you'll handle it later. This cycle is everywhere. We use spending to escape discomfort, to reward effort, or to fill boredom. But here's the truth: every time you spend emotionally, you reinforce a habit that prioritizes short-term comfort over long-term control. And the result? You end up broke, not because of bad luck, but because you're rewarding yourself for losing progress. The psychology of control. Financial freedom begins where emotional spending ends. To reach that point, you must build a new relationship with money, one where your values guide your spending, not your feelings. Think of it this way: every emotional spender is driven by reaction. Every strategic investor is driven by principle. The difference isn't knowledge, it's control. When the market crashes, the emotional investor panics and sells. The strategic investor studies the dip, stays calm, and positions for opportunity. When the emotional spender sees a sale, they rush to buy. The strategic one asks, "Does this align with my priorities?" Control doesn't mean never spending. It means knowing why you're spending. How to break the cycle. The first step in stopping emotional spending is awareness. You can't manage what you don't measure. For the next week, track every non-essential purchase you make, every treat yourself moment, every quick decision. Then ask, what emotion triggered it? Was it boredom, stress, insecurity? Most people discover a pattern, and that pattern is the map to their freedom. Because once you see how emotion manipulates your decisions, you can build systems that protect you from yourself. System 1. Delay the decision. When you feel the impulse to spend, pause. Create a 24-hour delay rule for anything non-essential. This does two things: it removes urgency, and it exposes the emotion for what it is: temporary. 9 times out of 10, the urge fades. And if it doesn't, at least you'll be making the decision from clarity, not impulse. System 2. Automate investments. The easiest way to stop emotional spending is to make investing emotional instead. When your paycheck arrives, automate a percentage straight into investments before you even see it. This simple shift turns saving into the default and spending into the exception. You'll quickly notice something powerful. When investing becomes automatic, your sense of control grows stronger. Every deposit feels like a win. Every contribution builds confidence. You're not just saving money, you're rewiring your brain. System 3. Reframe loss. Most emotional spenders see restraint as loss. They think, if I don't buy this now, I'm missing out. Strategic investors flip that belief. They see every unspent dollar as an opportunity. When you skip a short-term expense, you're not losing joy, you're gaining leverage. You're redirecting capital from consumption to creation. And the people who do this consistently aren't stingy, they're strategic. The logic of strategic investing: once emotional spending is under control, the next step is direction, knowing where to channel your capital. This doesn't mean taking high-risk bets. It means structuring your money so it works for you, not against you. Strategic investors follow 3 principles. Prioritize assets over appearances. Spend on what appreciates, not what depreciates. The car loses value, the stock, the skill, or the system grows it. Consistency beats perfection. You don't need to time the market. You need to stay in it. Small, consistent investments outperform erratic emotional decisions every time. Reinvest your rewards. Every gain should fuel the next opportunity. Compounding is emotional control applied to time. The mindset shift: From spender to investor, this is where the transformation happens, when you stop identifying as a consumer and start thinking like an investor. It's no longer how can I afford this? It becomes, how can this purchase create value? You stop seeing money as something to spend and start seeing it as something to grow. That's when emotion becomes an ally instead of an enemy. You start getting satisfaction not from the purchase, but from the progress. And once your brain begins associating happiness with growth instead of consumption, everything changes, building emotional resilience. But let's be real, even the best investors feel emotions. Fear, greed, impatience, they never disappear. The goal isn't to eliminate emotion, it's to manage it. One powerful exercise: every time you make a financial decision, ask two questions. Am I reacting or responding? Is this driven by data or by dopamine? That 2-second pause separates you from 90% of emotional investors. It's the pause between chaos and control. Financial freedom is emotional freedom. True wealth isn't just the size of your portfolio, it's the stability of your emotions. When you can stay calm while others panic, patient while others rush, and rational while others react, you've reached real financial independence. Because freedom isn't about having more money, it's about having more control over what money means to you. And that control only comes through discipline. Final thoughts. The path from emotional spending to strategic investing isn't about perfection, it's about awareness and systems. You won't master it overnight, but every time you delay a purchase, every time you invest first and spend later, every time you replace impulse with intention, you're building a new identity. The identity of someone who grows, not someone who reacts. And remember, it's not about being frugal, it's about being free. Spend on what adds value, invest in what multiplies it, and never forget, the calm investor always outperforms the emotional spender. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. Always do your own research before making investment decisions.